Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week, man, I did so much reading, and for what? For what? Like, I don't know what happened here, but I read the entire Maid series, at least the first three, because I didn't realize that there's going to be a fourth book, and I am very excited for that. But yeah, I read the three books of the Maid series, and this is going to be my review and my thoughts on the whole series, I believe. I'm just going to do the whole series in one video. Hopefully it, like, fits. Let's get started. So the first book of the Maid series is The Sweetest Oblivion. It is this whole book series, if you don't know, each book is a mafia romance for different characters. They are kind of morally gray. Some of them are very morally gray. The first book is about an Italian mobster and his subsequent love story and like how he gets married with his wife. To be honest, I went into this having specific expectations, so maybe that's why I didn't like it as much. I gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. I just feel like with The Sweetest Oblivion, which is this first book, I don't know if I said that already, it was really slow, with not much happening throughout most of the book. Like, a lot of the book was tension. So if you love tension, and I love tension, then you will probably really like this. There's a lot of things that are happening in small moments, but there's also a lot of scenes that I just felt like were really unnecessary to the book as a whole. And they really, I think the author was Daniel Lore, was trying to showcase kind of this like big family Italian like energy. Like, there's a lot of family members and a lot of characters, but a lot of characters that don't mean anything. So I was reading about all of these people sometimes, especially in the beginning of the book, where I was like, I just don't care about any of these people. They focus so much time on the main love story that, like, when they bring up these secondary characters, because there's so many of them, I'm like, skim. Like, I wanted to skim it, you know what I mean? This is literally 400 pages of just sexual tension, and it's kind of like a forbidden romance. So if you don't know what this book is about, the mafia, Italian mafia, is known for being traditional. So Nico, aka Nicholas, he is one mob boss. He gets promised a wife from another mob boss who has 2 daughters, but so his daughters, the oldest one is Elena, and then the younger one, oh my god, I forgot the younger one's name. But anyways, there's a transaction that goes on. So Nicholas is supposed to marry, well, is supposed to marry the oldest one, but Elena's dad, Elena's the main character, her dad, Salvatore, who's the other mob boss, he says Elena is off the table. She can't marry, so you have to marry the younger one. And this is before Nico has ever seen the 2 sisters. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll sign this contract. I'm gonna marry the younger sister. So Nico is promised into a marriage with the younger sister. Then they're already engaged, right? Nico and younger sister. I'm so sorry, I forgot her name, so I'm just gonna call her younger sister. Then once Nico lays eyes on Elena and they first meet, Nico's like, fuck, I made the wrong choice. Salvatore fucked me over, because Elena is like this beautiful, kind of like Barbie-esque, very docile girl. And the reason why Salvatore didn't want to give Elena up was because, one, she has like this past that is kind of a mystery throughout the story, that you find out later on. I mean, it's very obvious. She, you know, had relations with like this random bodyguard, or not bodyguard, it was like a guy who worked, it was like a night guard who worked at like the carnival or some shit. And she had this like affair with him and like wanted to escape. And then he gets killed, and she feels very guilty about that, because it was like, oh, her selfishness got someone else killed and stuff like that. And she's like grieving and whatever. Anyways, so Elena, she has this nickname called the Sweet Abelli because their family is named, they're the Abelli family. And the reason why she has that nickname is because she's very sweet. She wears pink all the freaking time. Like, that's her thing. She's like pink, pink, everything. She's like a Barbie doll, you know? And also she has like the sweetest ass, you know? So she's like this really gorgeous girl. And Nico's like, shit, I got the wrong sister. I want that sister. But he can't say anything because they already signed a contract. Half of the book is kind of him trying to get over the fact that he is marrying the wrong sister. But then next thing you know, a lot of funny shit happens in this. A lot of mob funny shit. Like he'll just like kill random people. Then later on in the book, Elena gets promised to this like really skeezy guy from like, I think he's from the Colombian mafia. I forget which mafia he's from, but he's from like another mafia, but he's like really sleazy. He's like not a good guy. Nico knows this, and he's like starting to have feelings for, literally this book is all sexual tension. He's starting to have feelings for Elena, but he can't really do anything about it until he finds out that the younger sister that he was promised, she's pregnant with another man's kid. And so it gives him a reason to like call the marriage off because she's like not a virgin or whatever. What happens is that Nico talks to Salvatore after finding out that the younger sister is pregnant with someone else's child. He says, I want Elena. And Salvatore's like, no, you cannot have Elena. It's off the table. She's also promised to another mafia man. He says, which one? And he says, it's the sleazeball. And he's like, all right, see ya, bye, to Salvatore after the meeting. Then the next morning, it's hilarious. The next morning, Elena turns on the news, and it says on the news, this like yada yada yada, the name of the guy she was promised was shot in the head last night. And then she hears her dad scream, Elena, can you come here? We need to talk. She goes into her dad's office, and he's like, you're gonna marry this son of a bitch, Nico. You're gonna marry him, and you're gonna live with him for the time being, so you're leaving now. She's like, what? And she's scared because she doesn't want to fall in love with Nico. She starts to live with him. This is like at the midway point, and then throughout that it's like their engagement, and she like doesn't want to kiss him on the lips, and he respects that because she feels like if she kisses him on the lips, you know, she knows that like mafia men aren't, like fidelity is not a thing for them. But then by the end of the book, he's like, oh, you're enough for me. It's like cute, whatever. And yeah, that's basically a whole spiel about what happens in the book. It's really hard to explain the first book because it doesn't really follow. It's like the plot is kind of like complicated. It doesn't follow, like, I can't give you specific tropes that like it's supposed to follow, you know? So I gave this one a 2 out of 5. I thought it was okay. It's funny at times, but really slow, and I didn't really feel the writing in this. I really didn't. I don't know. It was like the most average book, under average book I really read. And I said to myself after reading this, do I really want to continue with this series if the whole thing is kind of not even gonna be mafia-esque? Because even though this is a mafia book and the men in it do mafia things, so much of the book was just scenes of tension without actually moving the plot forward. I thought to myself, okay,